This has to improve for the Oklahoma Sooners to beat Houston.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. He's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. The Oklahoma Sooners host the Houston Cougars on Saturday evening. 2 straight primetime games. I don't really know what to do with that in my worldview, Jay. That's just crazy talk.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Every time I think about the fact that we don't have an 11 o'clock kickoff in the first 3 weeks of the season, I guess it's the beauty of not having Fox anymore, right? I mean, no shade to them, but wow, it's weird.
Yeah, thank you, Papa Sankey and the schedule makers. We appreciate not having to do the first thing in the morning kicks. I appreciate it coaching my daughter's soccer team. Now I'm not going to have to catch up on the DVR with these games, so I'll actually be able to enjoy them live. So that's good times. But this is a very interesting Houston Cougars team because they lose to UNLV week 1, 27-7, which is a result that's pretty surprising. I would say I would have been surprised would not have been surprised if UNLV gave them a game and Houston pulled out like a close one. That would not have surprised me at all if it was a close Houston win. But the fact that they lost really, really surprised me. But you look at this UNLV team, and it's been a program that's kind of been on the rise a little bit.
Yeah, with that go-go offense that they run, Brendan Marion, I know that we looked at him for offensive coordinator at one point, and I put the quotes up with my little claw hands because I know that it was not something that was seriously investigated, right? That we knew
they might have had a conversation with the guy, which
right. We sent an email.
Stuff happens all the time.
We sent an email, right? Maybe a text message, say, "Hey, big head," maybe. No, probably not the "Hey, big head," because we don't have that type of relationship. We probably would have been like, "Well, hello there," or something like that. But no.
Hey, Coach Marion.
The formality, right? The formalities was there. Right. But at the same time, that offense is so explosive and it goes so fast and it's so quote unquote gimmicky that it's really hard for teams to adjust. And honestly, kind of got to give Houston a little props to start the show that they were able to hold them to only 20 points with 7 points coming on defense.
Yeah. So you look at this Houston team and you think, okay, they lose to UNLV, which that's a bad loss for a Big 12 team. Because this is a Houston team that took Texas to the brink and nearly upset the Longhorns last year. And so you kind of want to keep your mind right as you look at this program, that it's a program in transition. They've got a lot of things that are happening on the turnover front, but they do have some talented pieces. And for Oklahoma's offense, man, I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Temple didn't really provide you with much of a challenge. You didn't really have to exert yourself too much in that game. And yet your run game wasn't super consistent in the first half. You got some explosives in the second half with Sam Franklin and Taylor Tatum that made the rushing line look a lot better at the end. But for Oklahoma, man, for me, the thing that it comes down to is third down conversion percentage. They've got to be much, much better. They don't have to complete every one of them, but they got to get at least 40 to 50% of those conversions done. I got to be much more efficient.
I think they got to at least try to convert them, right? When Brent Venables talked about it, that was the only reason why I can't be upset about those third downs. And we've talked about it before, is just that Venables said that because it was short yardage, they knew they were going for it on fourth, so they didn't really try. So to me, it's like, can we try to get those third downs this time around? Can we actually make a physical attempt to actually go for it? And I mean, I get, the scripting and everything. And of course, we've talked about this ad nauseum, and I get annoyed thinking about it even more. But we do need you to make the attempt to get the third down conversion just to appease everybody in some capacity. Now, I know they don't care what we truly think, but still, give it to us. Just give us at least give us 3 straight, and then you can do whatever you want afterwards. Because then at that point, the fans know, if we really want it, we'll get it.
I just don't like the idea of playing for third down or playing for fourth down. And I know that's kind of a new age analytics approach. Like the best way to be good on third down is to avoid third down altogether.
Yeah.
But Brent Venables is very much of the mind, like, we got 4 downs to get first down. And listen, I like the aggressiveness of going for it on fourth down when you're in plus territory and you're 4th and 3 or less. I love that he'll go for it instead of punting or settling for a field goal. I really appreciate that about him. But let's just not even get there. Let's just not even get the third down. Let's attack the sticks on first and second down, and then you don't have to worry about third down.
And that's the good thing, though. Jackson Arnold mentioned that the book's going to be opened up even more in this game. So I anticipate actual deep passes. Now, this is the thing that I like to warn Sooner fans on this. And this is what I expect on the offensive side of the ball. There's a very good chance that if we get up very early, that we go right back to a scripted game. Yeah, it's most likely going to happen.
They should.
And when I say get up, I'm talking 21-0, 28-0. At that point, let's put it this way, John. There's two things that we're not used to here at Oklahoma. We're not used to having a good defense, and we're not used to controlling the game clock, right? We're so used to the team go, and then complaining that we have 1-minute possessions or 58-second possessions. We've gone through 3 plays. We're so used to complaining about that now that all of that has changed, no one's accustomed or even really comfortable with the idea that, oh my God, we're actually going to try to have 6-minute drives. We're going to try to have 8-minute drives. It's weird. And I get it, fans. I get what you all are thinking because I say the same thing every time I think about it. It's going to be weird, but that's probably what they're going to do. They're not going to go out there and rush. I mean, we'll probably have, I can anticipate 2 to 3 plays over 50 yards that we either score on or we go deep on, right? But outside of that, it's going to be them taking their time. And y'all are going to be annoyed because we're so used to, it's been how many years since Riley actually was OC? That was what, 15, 14?
He came in 2016 because Heupel's last year was 2015.
Yep. So it's been almost 10 years since we've had an offense that wasn't actually Heupel's was a little bit more of more of a pace too. So shoot. 15, almost 20 years since we've had an offense that just went slow.
Yeah.
Kind of weird to think about that, right?
Well, and that's the beauty of having that complementary football, right? You've got a defense that's capable of winning you football games. So no need to extend them or overextend them and get them tired when you have 1-minute drives, when you go 3 and out in 15 seconds. Like there's nothing more frustrating for a defense than that. Hold the ball a little bit longer. And I think Seth Luttrell has a good understanding of that. And that's why he and Brent Venables, I think, are going to mesh a little bit better. You're going to see more complementary football. I know it's a buzzword that gets thrown around all the time, but I think you're going to see the offense play offense in such a way that shows you how much trust they have in the defense. You know what I mean? Like Brent Venables doesn't worry about going for it on 4th down because he knows he's got a defense that can get the ball back for him.
Exactly.
The offense doesn't have to worry about scoring every single drive because they've got a defense that can actually get some stops. So that's the encouraging part of that. But on offense, I mean, with the wide receiver depth chart that's been injured, basically with Jaden Gibson out, now Jalil Farouk out, I want to see JJ Hester step up, man. There was a lot of talk about him in the offseason. He got a couple opportunities last week and did not come through. Hopefully he gets a little bit of a bounce back. If I know Emmett Jones, I know he's back in his ear, encouraging him, trying to just keep his mentality up and keep his mentality right as he goes into this game because he's going to get opportunities. They need somebody with some size on the outside to give them some consistent snaps.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to put up any numbers here since he got here in 2022. He had 1 catch for 13 yards, right? But when he was at Missouri, he had like 9 catches, 160 something, and he had like a 65-yard touchdown, right? So he gave you what you were looking for there. That 4.4 speed showed in the highlights he had when he was there at Missouri. Then he comes here and breaks his foot, and he just hasn't been the same yet. Now, I try to give a little grace on that because I understand it probably was a little bit of nerves because it's been so long since he's actually played in a game, being underneath the lights and just probably more so excitement at the fact that I'm healthy and I can actually play. Now, this is the game. This is you got your mulligan. I gladly will give you a mulligan for Temple. Ball touches hands. Ball needs to be in hands. And it needs to be in chest. It needs to be tucked, and you need to go ahead and make said catch, right? Deep pass. If it's thrown and it's there, get your head up there, boom, tuck that bad boy in. Because it was obvious that with all the raving reviews we got of Hester in fall camp, him and Arnold had some chemistry.
Yeah.
Let's see that now. Let's leverage that now, and let's take advantage of that in this game where Houston's probably going to spend more time playing defense than not. And the biggest problem you run into with teams that have tempo is if you ain't got the depth to handle it, you're going to get gassed by halftime and be done for the rest of the game.
Final thing is I want to see Gavin Sawchuk look more decisive. I know the offensive line wasn't the offensive line that's going to be the starting offensive line. For this week, at the same time, I need my man just to get downhill. The best way you can help your offensive line as they're trying to work through their chemistry and cohesion, don't dance in the backfield. Do some Sam Franklin and just get downhill. See the hole go. And I wonder if we see
Caleb Hicks to go with him.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of curious if they're trying to figure out who the four are going to be this year. Yeah. And I wonder if we see more Hicks than like maybe Sawchuk or Franklin, just to kind of see what that looks like. Kind of curious. We need to get a depth chart. Can we get one of those, please?
I wish they'd give us the one week to week, but they ain't going to do that. Brent Venables ain't trying to tip his hand to anybody. But we're going to talk about the defense, what we expect to see from Oklahoma's elite unit on the defensive side of the ball. We'll do that next here on Locked On Sooners. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats that they might not have the time or resources to hire. So that's why they're always looking for ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses are using LinkedIn for hiring. So go post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Football is upon us this Saturday, and home field is getting you ready for game day. The temperatures are getting cooler. Now's the time to go check out the great vintage apparel brought to you by Home Field Apparel.
Yeah, they've got football boxes that they're providing you for the entire year. You got to go check out. In those boxes, they've got 3 never-before-seen items for your school, like this hoodie that I got. We know the weather is going to be in the 60s in the evening for this Houston game, so it's definitely something to check out. And they got platinum VIP boxes, which gets you on top of the never-before-seen gear, a new hat for those VIP only, a koozie, which is kind of cool. I like my koozie, as well as a platinum pass. It's going to give you 20% off in early access. No more missing out on any of the home field offers because they're sold out for your school's release throughout the 2024 season. So you got to check those out before they are sold out. You can leverage our code Sooner24 and get over there to Home Field Apparel. It's got some good stuff.
That's homefieldapparel.com for the best vintage Oklahoma Sooners apparel. So the defense had a really good week against the Temple Owls. We're expecting big things out of them this year. Jay, what are you looking forward to seeing from this defense against Houston?
Look, Houston comes into this game, defensive efficiency on ESPN at exactly, I'm still scrolling. I am still scrolling. 132nd in the country. They are one of the worst offenses out there. Donovan Smith, who we thought he looks the part. 6'5", he's a big, framey guy. He is not healthy.
At Tech.
Yeah, he had good moments at Tech. He was a pain in our butt at Tech, but he doesn't look healthy. And I think that shoulder surgery he had at the beginning of the year for that labrum, I don't think it's gotten better. And because of that, he looks like he's quite suspect. So to me, the defense needs to swarm the heck out of him. The offensive line still doesn't have its chemistry or cohesion. They're kind of small too. We should be able to power through that and get some borderline record-breaking numbers on the defensive side of the ball. Either it's through turnovers, which we'll talk about our boldest predictions on the next seg, but from turnovers to sacks to tackles for loss, I expect for us to fly. But if there's anything, John, I'm really looking for, when we get to the 3 deep, how long will it take for us to get that far?
Yeah, I think it's possible you see a guy like Marcus Strong again. He's not one of your top 4 or 5 defensive tackles, but with 2 sacks at the end of the game, he's going to earn a few more opportunities. When are we going to see, the freshman safeties? I think you'll see them early and often as well, because they showed out when given opportunities in this in the first game of the season. This just feels like a game where your linebackers are going to have to be on point.
Yep.
I'm expecting them to use a lot of their linebacker depth. Danny Sussman obviously will have a big day because they're going to try to get the ball out of Donovan Smith's hands pretty quick. The way that, Houston's offense isn't able to move the football, they don't have the time. They don't have the luxury to take time in the pocket. So look for a lot of quick stuff, a lot of, wide receiver screens, a lot of, draw plays, stuff where they try to use misdirection to take advantage of Oklahoma's aggressiveness a little bit. But this is where your linebackers, being one more experienced than they were a year ago, definitely deeper than they were a year ago and 2 years ago. That's going to help Oklahoma because they're not going to get fooled so easily. And I think they're going to be kind of ready for the misdirection stuff because Houston's not going to be able to come straight at Oklahoma and have any success. Jaden Jackson, Dominic Williams, Dejon Terry, David Stone, Grayson Halton, they'll feast if Houston tries to run between the tackles or if they try to let Donovan Smith take 5-7 step drops. Like, those dudes are going to feast. R. Mason Thomas, Ethan Downs, Caden Willer, all those guys will just eat Houston's offensive line alive. So I think they're going to have to do something to scheme him away from pressure.
Yeah, I don't expect them to do any plays that he has to drop back more than like a two-step drop at most, right? They'll be in shotgun. So I expect for it to be a one boom and get rid of. Yeah. I expect a lot of screens, a lot of just quick drags, whatever they've got to do to prevent Donovan from holding the ball. I don't know honestly, I don't even know how much scrambling he's going to be able to do if that shoulder is still bothering him, because he can't lower his shoulder and run nobody over, right? And if he takes the wrong shot from one of our guys, in which we've seen how we like to hit right now, you don't want to do that to yourself. And I think they're going to probably pay attention to that, right? Now, they may go even deeper in their depth chart, bringing the backup quarterback who had a decent outing to end the game, right? But right now, it definitely is Donovan Smith's team, and they've got to figure something out. And the biggest thing is they've got to have to go very, very fast with their pass game or figure out their run game. Now, with the way our defense is playing, that linebacker room, when we can go 3 deep, they're going to be causing havoc. And to be honest, John, I actually sense that we're probably going to come out there with more exotic plays on the defensive side. I'm expecting more blitzing. I'm expecting to come out of nowhere with stuff, because we already saw how good Kendall Dobley is. We already saw how well Kobe McKenzie is when he comes to blitzing. Reggie Powers did well over there as well. Adding that element with the defensive linemen getting a lot of pressure. Man, I know Gabe and Teddy are expecting potential record-breaking on sacks. I don't see it, but I can totally see us making this dude. I can see less than 50% completion percentage by Donovan Smith.
Yeah, it feels kind of like a game where if he doesn't have somebody open right away, it's gonna be Oklahoma just having a field day. And I don't imagine necessarily that he will have people open right away, because Oklahoma's pretty decent in coverage. And now they've got like a little Drake Stoops in their own right. I'm blanking on his name. Marsk. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's a interesting one. But just a guy that plays similarly to that. And so they'll try to go to him pretty often to get him the ball in quick space, in quick passing schemes, just to get the ball out of Donovan's hands really quickly. But I think ultimately they're going to be in a lot of third down and long situations, and that's going to benefit everybody on Oklahoma's side of the ball. Like R. Mason Thomas, I think, is going to come through, get a couple sacks in this one. I think the defensive tackle group will be as disruptive as they were last week. May not have as many sacks, but they will create a ton of pressure. And Houston's just not going to be able to run the football against them. Houston abandoned the run pretty quickly last week. They did not give their starter very many opportunities, and they're not going to get a lot of opportunities this week because Oklahoma's going to be really, really good against the run, and it's not going to go well for the Cougars.
It probably won't. I think, do you think about Mekhi Muse, The little 5'8" wide receiver that they had running around out there.
No, that's not. Maybe, I don't know. I'm still
He's
having
the littlest one.
Still having my COVID brain farts. Sorry.
No, there's no problem. But they do have some nice little fast tight wide receivers that can get out there and cause problems. Hopefully for us, we are ready for any type of routes that they put out there, and we're able to keep up with them. But the thing is that I don't expect them to be able to run any of their plays, especially anything deep, very fast. Right? It's going to be quick plays. They're going to have to dump the ball as fast as possible. So to me, I think that the linebacker, the defensive line is going to get the pressure. The linebacker room is going to do enough to where they disguise enough of their defenses to where it's going to be hard for him to get the ball out there. I think the other thing that's going to help us a lot too is that we're wearing the throwback jerseys, and Houston also wears red technically. So because of that, there may be an opportunity where they have no clue who's on what team. And they just got, hey, I thought we was at home. I didn't realize we weren't at home anymore. Damn. We're actually wearing white today. Darn. Yeah.
Joseph Manjack the fourth. That's the wide receiver.
Manjack. Yeah.
That's like a Drake Stoops kind of starter kit.
He's
a little bit.
6'3", 205. He's a lot bigger than Drake.
Okay, maybe. So I misjudged.
I like the name Manjack. That was pretty cool. I actually like that.
That was some stereotyping on my part. Got the lunch pail out and all that jazz. But no, I think he's going to be the go-to guy for Donovan Smith. And if Oklahoma can keep him covered, then they'll be in good shape. But just limit the explosive plays like you did last week, and it'll be fine. Oklahoma will have a great defensive performance just like they did a week ago. We'll get to some bold predictions. We'll give you our prediction for this week, and we'll look at some of the key SEC matchups coming up in week 2, coming up next on Locked On Sooners. Are you still looking for tickets for OU Houston? Well, Game Time's got you covered. They have a lot of great options available to you right now. And you can see, over in the Game Time app right now, I'm looking at section 103 for $49. You trying to go to the game? Go to Game Time. They have the best prices on last minute tickets and the lowest prices guaranteed. They also have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You can go to the Game Time app, download it in your app store, use our promo code Locked On College to get $20 off your first purchase. You get the great panoramic view in the app where you can see exactly what you're going to be looking at, and they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry with Game Time ticket coverage. So go download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. What time is it?
Game time.
All right, Jay, start us off with a bold prediction for week 2.
All right. So on the offensive side of the ball, I expect for us to once again rush for over 200 yards in this one. I expect for us to pass for over 200 yards, but I expect us to be under 450 yards total.
Okay.
Very light.
I think we're going to see another 4-touchdown day from Jackson Arnold, and I think you're going to see another pair of those go to Deion Burks.
I like that. Defensively, for the second consecutive week, we're going to hold a team under 200 yards.
Okay.
And we're going to get at least 4 sacks and 4 turnovers.
I like it. I feel like that's the 40-40 club in baseball. You get 40 stolen bases, 40 home runs. You get 4 sacks, 4 turnovers. Pretty good chance you're going to win the football game.
Very much.
Defensively, I'm going to say Mason Thomas comes through with 2 of those. This is going to be the breakout game for him. I've been talking about him for 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm ready. This is the time. This is our Mason Thomas time.
I feel bad for the edge room. We just been wanting them to do something, right? To be able to go, and it's not. And let me rephrase. No, I'm not going to rephrase it. We want them to do something. Now we know they're being effective. We just want them to get the actual tick marks on there, right? We know they're knocking down passes and they're forcing the quarterback to get rid of the ball quickly, but we don't have any statistics to really show outside of, the efficiency stuff. No, we want you to get the sack. We want you to get credit for your homework and your contribution to, this group project.
That's right. That's right. I do think Gavin Sawchuk has a much better day. I think, go back, look at the film. He'll see that he was a little bit hesitant and tentative, but also getting Branson Hickman back, getting Jake Taylor involved. We might see a little bit more Heath Ozida this week at left guard, potentially.
That'd be nice.
If that's the case, then maybe there's a little bit more consistency up front. We don't know the health status of Gary Hatchett, but there's some speculation that he's not fully healthy from his injury last season either. So yeah, I think Gavin Sawchuk has a much, much better day. Will it stave off Taylor Tatum talk? Probably not, because I think Taylor Tatum goes and has another productive performance as well.
Yeah. I have a feeling that we'll see more Taylor Tatum and Caleb Hicks in this game. It feels like that what makes the most sense to get a couple runs for Gavin as well as Barnes, but don't play them too much. Really start to grind them up and get them going for the Tulane game and then going into SEC play. It feels like it makes more sense to do that instead of, letting them take extra hits early in the season when you really don't need them, right? I think Caleb Hicks and Taylor Tatum can go out there and really be extremely effective against Houston, even though Houston defensively, they're not too bad. I mean, efficiency-wise, they were ranked 81st going up against a UNLV offense that's infamous for being like, they're quote-unquote gimmicky and it's hard to defend. They did a solid job of keeping them to only 27 points, especially as bad as we believe they are. So having those two backs will be good. Wide receiver-wise, I want to see J.J. Hester get 5 catches, 100 yards. Give me that.
I want to see Angelo Anthony get an increased snap count. He only played 9 snaps last week. Caught a pass, but if they can extend him to like 15 this week or closer to 20, I think that'll show a good trajectory for where he's headed this season. Contrary to other people's opinions out there, Dean Blevins, he's going to contribute this year. It just might not be week 1, week 2, or even week 3, but you're going to get something out of Angelo Anthony at some point this year that's going to be super, super productive for this team. The Oklahoma Sooners are a 27.5 point favorite right now over at FanDuel. That's a very intriguing line because I think this has the potential to be a blowout. I think it also has a potential to be a game within 20 points. Where do you kind of fall on this one, Jay?
I'm kind of surprised that line has dropped like that, right? Because it opened at 26.5. I've seen it at 30 at points. And I believe that now a lot of people, because of course Vegas raises it because they're trying to get traffic on the opposite side. And it sounds like a lot of people were starting to really hit that Houston 30 and Houston 29. And now they're bringing it back to about where they were. So they've got the money to balance the numbers out. I don't think this game's going to be close by any means, but I do think there'll be a lot less possessions than we expect. I really believe that we're going to control the clock and control most of the game. So to me, I'm sensing that we win. We probably score 40, so we'll cover the spread, but we don't hit the over-under, which is what, 49 now?
It is 49.5.
So that's back 49.5 because I've seen it go up to 52 at one point on FanDuel. So now it's dropped to 49.5. I'm sensing that we probably get close to that. We may actually hit the over-under on our own, but I think that boldest prediction, 49-0 Oklahoma.
Okay. So that means Oklahoma covers, but doesn't cover the point total.
Nope.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like around 45-13 right now.
Ooh,
I don't know why I feel like Houston scores some points, but I don't know. I just, it's Willie Fritz, man. Like Willie Fritz is a really, really good head coach. And maybe it's year 1 of a massive rebuild that he's undertaking at Houston. But I just have way too much respect for that dude and what he did 3 years ago when Oklahoma had Tulane like dead in the water after one half of play. And they just rallied and made that a game at the end of the game. He may not have the same level of talent at Houston right now that he had at Tulane, but he's got some talent. And some of those players followed him over from Tulane to Houston. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm landing right now is 45-13. I think it's going to be close. I think Oklahoma needs another defensive or special team score to cover the spread. And that's one of those that's kind of a coin flip situation that you may or may not get in a game. But I think the offense looks really good. But I agree with you that they're going to play a lot more ball control offense because I think that's going to be a lot of the philosophy of this team is control the football and play defensive football, which is smart because that's the strength of your team, right? So that's kind of where I'm landing on this one. If you're really feeling frisky, Houston is a minus 10,000 on the money line. So, it's the old Kevin Malone from The Office bit. If somebody gives you 10,000 to 1 odds, you take them, right? Like you put a little $10 on that just to see what might happen. Houston's not going to win this game, but those are kind of frisky odds. I don't know. The better in me is intrigued. But don't do that. If you're going to do it, don't put a lot of money on it. That's for sure. Just, little fun money. Some intriguing games in the SEC this week. The one that has my eye and the one I'll be most intrigued about in the early slate. And I know Texas is going up to Ann Arbor to play Michigan. That's really exciting. But Arkansas, Oklahoma State, I think I'm more fascinated to see how that game turns out than anything, because it's one of those matchups that should happen regularly, just like Oklahoma, Arkansas. There's no reason why it shouldn't happen more frequently than it does. There's so many potential bragging rights that are at play. Like living in Eastern Oklahoma, there are a ton of Stillwater or Oklahoma State fans out here. Mm-hmm. We're not far from Fayetteville. There's a lot kind of at stake between these two teams right now, especially on the recruiting trail as they kind of recruit the area and, try to get one up on the other.
It looks like Bobby Petrino has really got them humming on offense with Taylor Green out there at quarterback. He looked pretty good, even though they played, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. I totally understand that. But coming from Boise State, man, it looks like he looked comfortable in the game, right? You win 70-0. Obviously, you're very comfortable. But he's a big kid, 6'6", 230, right?
He can scoot.
He can scoot. He looked comfortable in the game. And so to me, if he goes out there, he goes to the waters and he feels poised, and Bobby Petrino is able to draw something up with that offense that he has, that pro style, I think it could be a problem because I think Oklahoma State's defense is a little suspect. I don't think it's that good. And I think that that's going to be what really causes problems for them, is that I don't think they're going to be able to stop Green or Bobby Petrino in that offense right now. Now, Ollie Gordon is, of course, everything for them. But at the same time, if you could find a way to
Brennan Presley,
just put a whole bunch of big boys in the box and make it hard for him to get around them, should be okay.
Try to force Alan Bowman to beat you. That's generally a fairly good recipe for success. Texas and Michigan. I know we're going a little bit long on today's episode, but we got to get to some of these games. Texas and Michigan. That's going to be a fantastic matchup. I think Texas is going to win it. I think they'll even cover the spread. I just don't think that this Michigan team is as good as they were last year with the young quarterback that's kind of finding his way. I don't think Texas is as good as they were last year. I've said that everywhere I could say it. But the schedule sets up for them to be as good record-wise or potentially better. Well, I don't think they'll be better because they'll lose to Georgia and they'll lose to Oklahoma. So they won't be better record-wise. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand on Texas. They'll beat Michigan, but I don't think either team is as good as what they were a year ago.
Yeah, getting those back-to-back losses is going to be awesome to see. But no, yeah, I agree. Defensively, I think Michigan is still there. I think that they're going to be a problem defensively for Texas, but I think Texas wins this game. I don't think they cover the spread, though. I think this game's going to be a lot closer because, specifically, Sharon Moore's offense, the way he's going to play it, he's going to be controlling the clock majority of the game. It's all about game control with the way that Michigan's philosophy's been since, Moore's been the offensive coordinator, right? They want to control the clock and control the game. My issue with Michigan is that they have no clue who's going to play quarterback, right? They keep going in between the walk-on, was it Davis Warren and then Alex Orji. They have absolutely no clue who's going to actually be the quarterback. I mean, they still got Jaden Davis, the freshman, I think he's a 4-star quarterback, 5-star on some systems. and they're not even playing him. Like, he's like third on the depth chart. I figured they would have went ahead and threw him in there since they don't know about the other two. But that passing game, which has kind of been non-existent at Michigan anyway, I don't know. We got to see if Donovan Edwards can carry them all the way through this, and it just doesn't feel like they'll be able to do that against Texas this time around. I think Texas wins the game, but I don't think they cover. I think it's a lot closer than people anticipate because I think Michigan's defense is really good.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Michigan's defense is what keeps them in the game. I just don't think they have enough offensively to keep pace, and that'll put enough pressure on their quarterback situation where Texas might end up with a defensive score or short fields and are able to take advantage of that Michigan team. The only other couple games of intrigue here, you got South Carolina, Kentucky, which I think could be a really fun one to watch, especially if you want to watch from Dylan Stewart, 5-star freshman that is just blowing things up. Tennessee, NC State. That's kind of the other big non-conference matchup. That'll give us a really, really good idea of what Tennessee's all about this year.
Yeah, because NC State's defense is still, somewhat, solid, and that they have a lot of veterans out there. Now, they didn't play very well the first half in the last game, but second half they turned it up and they went and showed out and actually did a lot better. So if Tennessee can exploit them early, they'll be good. But I wonder if the question is, how ready will NC State be for that high-profile, hypo offense that's going to be go, go, go in the first half? If NC State can show that they're ready in the first half, then that game's going to be a very stressful one for the Vols.
Yep. Auburn will host Cal. They should win that one handily.
Yeah.
And then Alabama hosts South Florida. Another, maybe an upset pick here if you're getting freaky. Missouri and Buffalo. Buffalo is a oiled program. Could they knock off the Tigers? No, they won't.
No, I don't think
that's it. That's it. You don't really have much else going on. So you know where to focus your attention this week if you're looking at SEC action. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports, myself at John 9 Williams. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all the socials. We'll be back to cover the game. I'll do it immediately after the game. We'll get something up there so you guys can react to it and share your reactions and your thoughts to how Oklahoma performs as well. So be aware of that. That'll drop on your feeds, at least on Sunday morning at the latest.
Yep.
So be aware of that. But we'll be back for our full week of shows on Monday as well. But until next time, hope you enjoy your weekend, and Boomer
Sooner.